We're going to talk about examples of project life cycles. So there is the generic model of project life cycles with the initiation phase leading to a charter, a planning phase leading to a plan, a lot of variation in how we execute a project, and then a closing with a handover and a post-project review. But few, if any, projects exactly match that, even given that there's differences within the execution phase. Actual project life cycles have to be decided by an organization. Now here's a real example. It's from a consulting client of mine who was into industrial automation and controls. Their project will be kicked off by a request for proposal from a corporate client. I would say their project charter would be their decision upon receiving the request for proposal. Yes, we're going to prepare a proposal and we're going to assign you as the proposal manager. Then there's a proposal phase which leads to a proposal. Now a proposal is a plan of sorts. We have to put enough planning into the proposal that we know what we're willing to deliver, we know what we're going to deliver, and we're confident enough in the cost to, in this case, make it a fixed price, and we're confident enough to promise scheduled dates. Then there's a period of evaluation or possibly negotiation leading to a contract award. Contract award then stimulates a planning phase where they would develop a plan. But this is not a stage gate. A design would already have been starting. They'd go through design, manufacturing, installation, and commissioning, probably with no gates in between those, overlapping those, leading to eventual handover to a customer and a closure phase, which includes a post-project review. Now, just as an aside, in a consulting assignment with this client, we were working on when would we have review points where an external to the project, but internal to the organization, a panel of a couple of senior project managers would review the project. And we decided to put them at these locations. A week or so before the proposal is due, so that the decisions could still be made to decide not to bid. Upon completion of the project plan to see, does it look like a good plan? And at the to join the post-project review, because the review team would be able to take learnings from the post-project review that they would be able to apply in earlier review periods on other projects. We also decided that there would be also a review point partway through the execution phase, depending on the nature of that project. Here's another quite different approach. This is based on a rather unfortunate project, the Manhattan Project, the development of nuclear bombs in the 1940s. I've got a start point at the appointment of General Leslie Groves as the project manager. They probably didn't call him a project manager at the time. And the project went on until 1945. This was an example of a project where scope was more important, no, time and scope were more important than cost. This was not a predictive life cycle. When they started the project, they didn't know how they would get to the end. It wasn't broken into phases, and it certainly didn't have stage gates. It was go at it with up to 133,000 people at one point. Their approach to the technology was not the predictive stage gate approach that we often talk about with new product development. Instead, it was trial and error, technology trial and error with done in parallel, so parallel trials. They weren't sure about how they would be able to enrich the uranium, so they worked on three possibilities all at once: gaseous diffusion, electromagnetic separation, and thermal diffusion. One of them eventually was the one that they used. Also in question was, how can we get the bomb to work? How can we actually stimulate the chain reaction? And they worked on 2 or 3 or 4 different bomb designs until finally one was chosen. In terms of the approach to the project, most private sector organizations and governments prefer a more controlled, more predictive life cycle with a more predictive cost and schedule. So Those are some examples of real-life project life cycles as compared to the generic theoretical one.